This video is proudly sponsored by Yugioh Pro Deck for all of your deck building, pack opening, and discussion needs.
Hey everyone, Egman here with another video. And today we have our first Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel ban list since the game came out a little bit over 3 months ago, and I guess it's like 3.5 months when it takes effect. But yeah, it's a very, very interesting one. I honestly want to know how this one came around. There's a lot of peculiar things about it where it looks kind of like it's hitting stuff, but at the same time, kind of not. So let's just go to the actual list itself. It is in the game client. There's also this visual one that the MasterDuelSite Twitter put up as well. I will have a link to their Twitter in the description as well if you want to check out this and the discussion, I guess. But the short of it is that Ben 10 and Conquistador of Golden Land are limited to 1. DD Dynamite, Sekka's Light, Fusion Destiny, Torn Scales, Fractal, Roshi, I guess Lao, Leerless Cobalt, Sparrow, Prank Kids Roxy, and Emancipator Analyzer are limited to 2. And then Red Eyes, Darkness Metal Dragon is unlimited, which this is super peculiar in a lot of ways. If you think of like the top decks that we have right now, for example, Zodiac Tri-Brigade or just, regular Tri-Brigade, that gets hit by this. I know that a lot of people are playing like Leerless Tri-Brigade, so like it loses a card, right? Or 2 in the case of the Lyric version. Drytron is losing, all of its Ben 10s, so only having the 1. Eldritch is losing one of its trap cards. Virtual World is losing one of its main deck monsters. Emancipators is losing 1 or 2 of its main deck monsters if you're playing Roxy. Pranks Kids is literally losing a single Roxy's, and then that's pretty much it. And then some of the big boss monsters that people are going into, but this doesn't really seem to address a lot of the issues or even the powerhouses for a lot of these decks. It's very peculiar, and my thought, and I think a lot of other people's thought, is that something that's unique about Master Duel is the fact that it is this online client, and because it's an online client, they can get tons more data than they would otherwise, right? Most of the time they have to look at tournament results and see how that go, but based on how much data they're getting through Master Duel, they're hosting a YCS every hour based on how many matches are going through their client right now. So they obviously have a lot of data and a lot of statistics that we don't have, and they get to see because of this client. And I wonder if it's kind of more to, I don't know, with all that data too, you have to also realize that a lot of these players are not at the top level, right? It's more balancing, I guess, for the entire client than necessarily the top players are kind of the low players. But the really peculiar thing about this is that of all these cards that are getting hit, very few of them are super rares. There are no ultra rares except for Red Eyes, which goes up to 3 copies from 2. And it's just really interesting for that in my mind. Looking through the rest of this post too, they are talking about how the dismantling bonuses will work. Essentially, you get an extra 20 crafting points depending on how many are banned. So since Ben 10 was at 3 and is going down to 1, for the first 2 Ben 10s that you disenchant, you get the extra 20 crafting points, which just means you get it back for free, which is good. That is the bare minimum I'd expect for that. I don't think anyone was harboring their Ben 10s, but there we go. But yeah, but for most of these cards are normals and rares too, where I would say are just the freest points of gems too. So you wouldn't even want to do that anyways. So I don't know. It just seems really interesting that that's how they did that for their ban list, and I just don't understand it, because we're gonna look at I made a list on this probably, I guess it's a couple weeks ago now, because I was expecting March to have a ban list, and that came and went. So looking at just the cards in general, I did mark a couple that I'm surprised survived their hit in a lot of ways. If I go to the actual deck one, there we go. My goodness. Yeah, looking at here, if we look at my favorite cards, yeah, so Herald, fine. I think this is fine to survive, right? It's more of and I think Herald in general and Drytrons got the biggest hit for consistency, just because Ben 10 at 3 was obnoxious. I would like to see Eva banned or at 1, but just the fact that there are no cards that are banned from this ban list it's just a limiting list, right? It's not even a ban list anymore, right? But the fact that Eva was able to survive with also having the the Union Carrier, like Union Carrier Eva is still 100% full powered, which is very shocking to me. Tri-Brigade, I honestly don't think the Link needs to get rid of it, but just setting Fractal to 2 does like nothing. It's still completely searchable, especially since we have Fire Formation at 3-2. So actually, it is at 3, right? Right. I'm not crazy. Yeah, it is at 3. Okay, because I bounced through so many ban lists, right? But yeah, that's still at 3. And even just like their trap is still at 3-2, which I could see like that one getting limited a little bit for their consistency, even though the trap is searchable. We also have like Eldritch lost, one of their traps, which is fine. But I think a lot of people are saying, sure, like having the Conquistador does something. But by and large, I think having Skill Drain or Imperial Order, something that decks can't, unless there's a sideboard where most of these matches and games people are playing, there isn't a sideboard, then like they're just hard to get around. So it's interesting that Eldritch got its own specific card ban instead of something more impactful like Skill Drain or Imperial Order from that. We also do have like the I'm surprised Block Dragon also survived at 3. Instead of limiting Block Dragon to 1, they decided to put Roxy's and Analyzer to 2, which once again it does something, but it's not like even Analyzer's not even like the best at Emancipator, right? Like Researcher are the other one I think would have been more warranted to be set to 1 or 2, but sending the Analyzer was really interesting in my thought. We also have like Virtual World got limited to 1, but that also means we can still go into True Kings of All Calamities super duper easily with other decks, and like it's not, I don't know, it's just very, very weird. Normally, the semi-limit list is like the smallest section of any Yu-Gi-Oh ban list, and they just semi-limit a bunch of things. That DD Dynamite to 2, fine, I get it. So then they have to it just reduces the those decks floating around, and I'm okay with that. That's fine with me. But all of this other stuff, I mean, in a deck in kind of like a format where in tournament format, obviously you want to win as much as possible, right? And you always want to win as much as possible. But if you're grinding ladder, sure, you're going to lose like one more game out of like maybe 10 because you didn't find that Roxy's in your opening hand or something like that. But when you're grinding 10 games anyways, it's going to make such a little difference. Like most of my decks, I only play 2 Ash Blossoms because I've only gone 2 and just waiting to open the third one. I don't want to spend gems. And it's almost as if I'm playing 3 just because 2 and 3 are really similar when you're grinding like 100 matches kind of thing. When you're playing like a competitive tournament where you have to win every match, yes, having that 3 makes a difference. But for something when you're grinding ladder like this, it doesn't make a huge difference. So it's just very peculiar to me that they hit a bunch of cards very minuscule, and then also they didn't hit like any ultra rare cards, and just a few of the cards are super rares. A lot of them are just very basic rarity things, and so I don't know if that's a case of them not wanting to touch super rare and ultra rare cards as much, or if there's something more in foot. And again, this could be something that's more automated based on them looking at all the results they've gone over the last 3 months and say, you know what, 3 Roxy's is way too many. Let's set them to 2. That will balance the meta. And it just seems, I don't know, still very peculiar to me. The fact that, we still have Prank Kids Meow Meow Mew, which is bugged, by the way. I found out, I didn't realize this until the other day. You can, like, if you have more than one of these in your graveyard, you can keep proccing them on your opponent's turn, and it will still work. Even though it says once per turn, you can do it more than once. So I don't know why. So, like, the best way to fix this is just to set it to 1 anyways. But they don't do that, which this is 1 in both the TCG and I believe the OCG as well. So it would make sense to me for that to happen, but it's still at 3. So, and then also I'm super surprised Rongo survived another ban list in this. It's so, I don't know. It's up to Konami to decide like what's good and bad, and I expect that. And they obviously have data that we do not have for this, but I don't know. I just don't expect the meta to change after this. And like maybe it will balance out. Maybe they're wanting something else. But yeah, this is not, I don't know. It's super weird. I keep saying, I'm repeating myself a lot, but it doesn't seem like this ban list right here like is made by I don't know. I think they could have been a lot bolder with it because it's super easy to roll back a ban list, assumedly. in a client like this, and for doing something that's so safety and minimal as this we see right here. I don't know. We'll see what happens with it. Maybe we're wrong. Maybe this changes up the meta and everything's a little bit more balanced, but I don't know. It doesn't. I don't have high hopes for that. I'm happy we got a ban list, but it didn't really hit anything. The only thing that it made me feel better about is that I can make some grass decks now, because I know it's probably not going to get banned for at least another 3 months, and then maybe never ever banned because it's an ultra rare. So that's what I'm going to do with it. So that's it. Let me know what your thoughts are. I don't know. If anyone likes this, let me know. Let me know if you like this ban list a lot. And if you do, you're probably playing a rogue deck that doesn't have any of these cards, which is fine. But that's like the only reason I could see that. But even then, if you're that rogue deck, I would probably expect you to want more things banned or more things hit with it. But that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching again. Let me know what you guys think about it, and I'll catch you all next time.
Damn it.